such an asshole.
All right, we have a follow-up request from the same guy who wanted to know the good, the bad, and the ugly about Wyoming. And he says, throughout your writings, you talk about Las Vegas a lot. Can I pay you to talk about Vegas? I'll leave you alone after this. Just sign my books, okay? If we ever cross paths and you have some books that need to be signed, sure. All right, so we'll kind of do it in the same format of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's do the good of Las Vegas. And a lot of this you could get in the book Reconnaissance Man. I kind of go if because a lot of you are like, oh, what about this place? What about that place? Well, for $15 and a lot less time, you can get Reconnaissance Man, and it'll whittle down options where successful bachelor, bachelorette, or married people who got their lives together. Like you can leave because but I got free rent with my parents. I have abusive parents, and it's loud. It's truly a toxic environment, but free rent, right? And when you hear free rent, that's translated into English is I don't have to work. All right, let's be clear about what free rent is. No matter how toxic the environment, people would rather live in a abusive environment than work to pay the rent. I'm talking to people who got jobs, people who like, oh, and not only jobs, but like you majored in the right thing. And now people are like, well, we need you here. We need no STEM majoring man. We need you here. Oh, no, we need you here more. Cities, ladies, calm down. There's plenty of me to go around. You just let me work remotely employed and 1099, and I don't do meetings. I don't do diversity and inclusion training. And then you can all get a little bit of this STEM majoring goodness. Yeah, babies. Yeah. Cappy, how do I do? It's a Petropat economics. There you go. So Vegas, the first thing is no state income taxes. That's probably the number one thing, but there are other states that have that too. And these are all really, I mean, this is why, we were looking at Florida, Vegas, South Dakota. I'm with South Dakota because of my passion for the because I really like the Black Hills. But then obviously I go down to the Southern Command because it gets cold up here and snow. Am I right? But these are all very like top, very closely first, second, third, very, very close photo finish, but no state income taxes. It's warm during winter. It is gorgeous. Fall and spring, unreal, like permanent summer vacation. And gets a little cool in winter, but it's all right. And then obviously the bad would be the heat, but the no state income taxes, the weather. You don't think about this. It is dirt cheap to fly in and out of that place. McCarran International Airport. I mean, you get just because there's so much volume. There's so much, and people view it as tourism coming in, but they got to fly those planes back. And so you just hitch your ride with all these tourists subsidizing your costs. Housing is actually still quite affordable. People are escaping California. Conservative, hardworking people are anyway. What else? Oh, and then, yeah, you got the strip. Okay, that's good. But if you're going to live there, there's tourists and the people that live there. Nobody goes to the strip unless they work there. Because it's like anything else. Like you've been to Disneyland a million times. You don't need to go 1,000,001 times. There's traffic down there. So, certainly go and explore it a little bit. It'll get old after a month, and then you will rarely go to the strip again. But that's all right because off strip, there's a lot of stuff to do. Now, if you're a younger person, you're probably still going to go to the strip, or there's some areas close to or in between the two strips. There's Fremont Avenue, and then there's Las Vegas Boulevard, the strip. But there's some cool hipster parts of the town so there is a vibrant 20-something life. Not for me. I'm old. But if you're old, oh my God, it's almost heaven. It's almost the only place maybe heaven be Phoenix, especially during winter. But there is a ton of golfing. I got spoiled. I cut my chops golfing on Las Vegas Las Vegas and Phoenix golf courses, and I went up north. Like, what the hell is this? How much for this crap hole? What? If you're a resident, you get really good rates and just some beautiful. You would have Imagine being able to golf Bushwood. Buy Bushwood? No one's gonna get that if you're too young. For like $40. All right. Also related, not a super high-end thing on the list, but the architecture and the landscaping is very beautiful in some of these towns. They've really done some great jobs planning different, municipal planning, city planning. Um, and it's yeah, if you're older, it's just a playground, man. It's just a big playground. You go get your coffee, like I tell you, I always hang out with the Vietnam vets. I always go there. They're like the guys in Cowboy Bebop. We planted seeds like there was no tomorrow. Those guys are there with the Vietnam veteran hats. And you get to talk to them, and then they're all over the place, just like the guys wearing Cowboy Bebop. They just show up, and then you get thrown into a group with them playing golf, and you're smoking your cigars. More about before I keep expanding too much on golf, but the environment, continuing on in the environment, lots of hiking within the immediate area. And if you're willing to drive, it's a 4-hour drive to the Grand Canyon, a 2.5-hour drive to Zion National Park in Utah. Obviously, there are many, many other state and national parks within that range. Red Rock Canyon has some great hiking. And then also, if you're into it, off-roading, four-wheeling. If you don't want to have the Las Vegas life with the pop, pop, pop and the homeless, you can hop over one mountain range to Boulder City, where it's much more quiet and cheaper. Or you can, if you want to be really left the F alone, you can hop over another mountain range, drive a little bit, and go to Pahrump, where you're also left alone, but it's hot out there. I think you're only a mountain range over from Death Valley, so it gets wicked hot. But you can shoot guns out in the middle of the desert. There's prostitution over in Pahrump, not Clark County. Not Clark County. Aaron, I thought Vegas, yes, you can get escorts, you can have the girlfriend experience, but prostitution is illegal in Clark County. Obviously, just like drugs are illegal, right? Drugs are illegal in Clark County. So is prostitution. So is, I don't know, other things the government keeps trying to ban, but they're not successful at it. Seeking arrangement, that's not prostitution. Which is, I guess, another thing as the economy, or not the economy, but as society moves to a post-nuclear family, post-marriage world, and transactional sex, literal, all sex is transactional. Let's just be honest about that. It's just what's the term and length of your lease. Let's just put it that way. That is becoming less stigmatized. And certainly in Las Vegas, sex work is totally destigmatized. So if you're young and you don't want to dick around with dating apps and all that, you can get that. You get girls on the side. You can have a regular, not routine, schedule. You can, if you got the money. So that's available. Much higher rank than that. I'd say this is even better than the Strip, because Vegas is 24/7. It truly is a miracle of capitalism. It's just like, look what we did. We're in the middle of the desert, and you can get whatever you want anytime. That includes some food. The best restaurants and 24/7 restaurants you could ever want. Now, are the best restaurants on the Strip? That's an interesting discussion for another time, because everyone wants to open up the restaurant. Like, everyone wants to be an artist or an actor or actress. And people open up the restaurant. They take their family life savings. That restaurant gets put in a big-ass casino. They don't make it. It goes belly up. So that does not mean, though, that more seasoned, veteran, and better chefs haven't made restaurants off-strip that all the locals know to go to. So there is a ton of good quality restaurants, a lot of which are open 24/7. There are also these dedicated restaurants. I forget the name of them. There's a type of name for them where they're casinos, meaning they have a couple gambling machines at the bar, but they're open 24/7. They serve booze. They got great menus. Imagine, like, back in the day when Applebee's was good, although people would argue, when was Applebee's good? But just imagine when it was good. And there's got to be at least several hundred of them. And they're chains. There's PTs, there's Dottie's, there's Timbers, Bogarts. You'll see them. You'll see them around. And so, and I have. I remember one time, got up at 3 a.m., couldn't go back to sleep. I'm like, I'm going to go down to the local bar, get myself some food, and get hammered and snookered and walk back home. It was great. And you can walk back home because it was warm enough to. You know, it was 3 a.m. and whatever. The northern states would have been 10 below zero with a 20 below wind chill. No, I'm going to be in my... Oh, that's another wonderful thing. For those of you northern, for you union people north of the Mason-Dixon line, you know, on January, you walk out and you brace yourself for that cold. Ugh. Man, you walk out in the morning and, oh, it's already 73 degrees. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, I'm wearing sandals and shorts. And, yeah, it's just, but those restaurants are great. Just great. You can, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Vegas, just, I would say recommend avoid the strip, but also culturally, the people are very friendly and legit friendly, not fake Minnesota nice, not Portlandia, where we're only going to be nice to you if you're a Marxist communist white person that craps in the street, you know, to show solidarity with the other street crappers. Street crappers unite. You go there, there's the guys, the Vietnam veteran guys. Hey, we planted seeds like there was no tomorrow. They're there. They're happy to see you go in. I always got a line with the old Vietnam veteran. This is a good one. You go in, it's the same guys always. You guys solve the world problems yet? No. I'm glad you guys are on the case. I feel a lot better now. They, you know, everyone's kind of really friendly and they're in Vegas. They're having a good time. The girls are a little thinner. It's not Miami. It's not Miami, but if you are looking for attractive women, that's about as good as it's going to get. The tourists, you know, obviously like, oh, they're from Wisconsin. They're definitely from Wisconsin. You raised a farm girl, huh? Yeah, I could tell. Oh, never mind. You just you have that look, that spherical look about you. But obviously because the entertainment nature of Vegas, cocktail waitress, that's huge. Girl, there's another how many reasons do you want to go to Vegas? They're booming, there's a labor shortage. Girls, don't go to college, okay? And don't go on Fans Only or OnlyFans or whatever it is. All right, you don't have to show your hoo-ha. All you have to do is be in reasonable shape, put on a cocktail dress, don't have tattoos on your face, and show up on time and show up sober. I know this one girl, she ain't even 30 yet. She's already got a big war chest saved up for a down payment on a house. I think they're union too. I think wait staff and all that are union. She makes really good money. She has no debt. She got a very nice car. She didn't go to college. She right out of high school. This girl is in better shape at 26 than most women are at 40. Most guys are at 46. And so ladies and guys too, I mean, they need guys, they need bouncers, they need bartenders, they need guys just to show up on time and do your job. And you should be able to find a gig in Vegas pretty easy, but especially if you're a pretty girl or a girl that's reasonably in shape. I mean, the ideal is you become a cocktail waitress on one of the main hot casinos on the strip, like the Cosmopolitan or God, I have it at Bellagio. There's the casinos old wise people go to, and then there's the casinos young kids. Cosmo is one of them. There's another, the Chicka party. If you're an attractive woman, you go there. You could probably start clearing at least 60 grand. At least 60 grand. So and you don't have to go to college. And you'll make more than what you're going to make with your sociology degree anyway. So, and skip 4 years. I mean, there's opportunity there for young people. Oh yeah, Uber drivers, duh. Delivery. I mean, it's a good place to start. The military, it's a good place to start. That used to be the punchline in the 80s. Vegas is a pretty good place to start for young people. So I'd recommend. The bad, a lot of homeless, in part because of the native population. I don't mean Native American. I mean the native Las Vegans going back to the 60s, the 70s got wiped out from gambling and never left. Also, there's a new supply of people who are addicted to gambling, and they do that. I don't know where else the homeless people come from. Maybe because it's warm during winter. But I remember not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago, on the immediate north side of Vegas, there was a tent encampment or tent city. Literally on one side of the highway was Fremont, billion-dollar things, everyone having it. And you go on the other side, tent city. You go further north between there and the Air Force Base, Nellis Air Force Base, Atham, look it up. That's pretty much called Alphabet City, just dirt poor. Is it as bad as Detroit or Southside Chicago? No, I drive through the area somewhat commonly because I always want to remind myself, oh yeah, this is what happens if you do drugs. This is what happens if you have more kids than you can afford. This is what happens when you place the ultimate value on traits you were born with, thinking that your skin color or your gender is going to entitle you to things. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to panhandle in 110 degrees. And I am going to take my nieces through there and say, this is what happens when you don't work. Like, you could scare people straight. So it's got its bad part of town. A lot of Vegas is dingy, not necessarily a bad part of town or dangerous, just dingy. You got to go to places like Henderson. Holy cow, they put in a development. Oh my God, I thought it was square blue collar, maybe a little bit on the higher end side of over at the Southern Command. Well, boy, they put in some houses that are just blowing everything out of the water. But the immediate east side of Las Vegas, kind of by the university, is it's not the best. North side, that's the worst part. North side, total north side, almost all the way out to the Highway 95, Atham. Look it up. Actually, Highway 95 goes towards Atham. But then there's other neighborhoods, like Henderson's real nice. Green Valley, Sloan's, Summerlin. The Summerlin people. I'm not allowed there. I go up there, but I'm not allowed there. But continuing on with the bad, the Strip can get bad because of traffic. It's nowhere near as bad as anything you're going to see in California and other socialist utopias. But it's dangerous because you got foreigners, meaning people from out of state and people from out of the country who don't know how to drive. And it's a main thoroughfare and lots of accidents. So if you're a motorcycle rider like I am, stay the F off the interstate, off of Highway 15. There's a lot of panhandling, and you go to the Strip, and yes, there are pretty girls. They're inside the casino. You go to Fremont Street. Oh, women with pasties and thongs that should not be on pasties and thongs. No. It's pretty bad. And then what else would be bad? Oh, the heat during summer is bad, obviously. But again, then Cappy the coward eats off to the north and avoids that. And that's there's not that much bad. There really isn't. It's the heat, and stay away from that part of town. And just make sure you don't have an addictive personality to gambling or booze or something like that. So there's that. Now the ugly is Lake Mead, which is a grand failure on the part of Americans, because Americans keep voting in delusional environmentalists. I'm not against the environment. It's just that one of these days you might want to save it. So you have to be practical. And so and this isn't anything necessarily doing with Vegas people, but that the Colorado River feeds Lake Mead. Lake Mead feeds a lot of other people, Vegas, but beyond Vegas. And the Colorado River system that runs all the way from the Rockies, empties out, I believe it's the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. People are all pulling from that as well. It's not just Vegas. Like 9 states somehow pull, including California. Well, they haven't had a lot of snowpack up in the mountains. They haven't had a lot of rain. There's been a drought, so the lake's going down. And if Cappy was president, I'd say, hey, the lake is going down. It's not like you couldn't see it. The lake is going down. We need to find other alternative sources of water for all the states that pull off of this, so you pull somewhere else. Cappy's very simple and obvious solution was we built some nuclear power plants and we've used those to fuel desalinization plants. We can at least get California off of the Colorado River. Maybe we get some water into Arizona, some other places as well, but it at least would subsidize and all that. Well, because now you're talking California, among all these other states, and environmentalism, enter in the liberal white women who are going to save the world. And you literally can go watch it. They tried to approve a desalinization plant about a month ago. And keep in mind, it's not like, oh, we just build one. No, you got to build like 12. And we're talking multi-billion-dollar investments, multi-billion-dollar infrastructure to get the water inland. So this is at least a 10-year project. But quite literally, because the discharge from the desalinization plants, meaning salt, you throw it in there, it'll kill some sea plankton. And there's a liberal white woman, you can look it up on the news, she was protesting, like, save the plankton. Because, like, there's not enough, you're talking like this dot on the Pacific Ocean where plankton just won't be. But, Karen, it's more important that Karen can masturbate to her virtues and her good leftist environmental politics than it is you people have water in this otherwise, I would say, crown jewel of American achievement. I would, if capital city in terms of culture, I would say Las Vegas. It is the most American iconic city ever. We should be proud of it. On a nationwide level, we should do what we should to continue it going on and let it be Vegas. But rich liberal white women who got daddy's trust fund money or divorced their husband and got nothing else to do need to prevent all it. It's the classic example of case of middle-aged women not letting young people want to have fun. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's the ugly part. That because we have all this technology and Californians are dickheads, I'm simplifying it. Vegas may not be. There's things you could do, and they're going to have to do, like cut the water off, not just to Vegas, but like all the other different states that pull from it. It's a solution that if we started in the 80s and 90s, we would not have a problem. Now we have made the infrastructural investment. But I guess it's more important to Americans to jerk off to their environmental virtue signaling and honor badges than it is to make sure we have water for major metros. But don't worry, you'll figure this out. It'll become apparent. So that's one major problem facing Las Vegas right now. And you're kind of like, look, are you really going to let the water run out? And Joey Biden, it's going to take kind of federal intervention. Like, look, we got to do this. And federal and state rights, not just the laws, but the rights. I was sitting there thinking about, I'm like, it's just going to be easier to go to Mexico. Say, hey, can we put a nuclear power plant here and a desalinization plant here by Tijuana, or the Sea of Cortez? And the Mexican government, like, how much money? Yeah, let's do it. I think it'd just be, that's the workaround. Like, don't even dick around with the red tape and the delusional Karens at Del Mar who want to protest and let the rest of the country suffer because they're just truly the most selfish, greedy, mentally ill people. You go down there and put the not the solar panel. You can put solar panels in too if you want, I guess, but the nuclear power plant and desalinization plants, and then pump that north. That might work. But we'll find out. But that's kind of the ugly. The other part of ugly about Vegas, I don't know. I like its dingy charm. I guess the ugly underside is all the drugs and the low level prostitution. And I guess another thing would be like the washed up stripper girls or prostitutes who didn't save their money and are now begging and panhandling on Fremont Street. And you're looking like, oh my God, whoa. Just some advice. I'm pro sex worker. I am. But kind of like athletes, ladies, like if you're going to do this sex work thing, whether there's actual sex involved or not, I guess sexy work, we call it, fall all under that. Please save some of your money, because I know the Democrats tell you otherwise. Forever 21 is a lie, and 40 is not the new 20. All right. You need to save your money while you are young and beautiful because your beauty will go away. But it's kind of sad to see, you can kind of spot. I'm like, I bet you she was pretty at one time, and she doesn't have no teeth. I'm really trying to think of an there's not. This is why we're considering. I'm happy to be down there in winter. I'm ecstatic. Cappy's a happy little economist down there. It's just a one. I never thought I'd like the desert. I like, where's the water, which that was a legitimate concern. But I had no idea how much I would really enjoy being down. And man, when you go golfing with the old timers, because obviously I'm kind of on the younger end. I'm not really retired, but I play one in real life kind of thing. These guys are happy, very physically active. Like, even though they're old timers, they're in good shape. They're swinging clubs. They're not hitting from the reds. They're hitting from the blues or the whites, meaning what's their handicap? How far back do they drive from? A lot of hikers. It's and then Ivy the dog is out there. You gotta love Ivy the dog. Practical Cappy Cap celebrity. There's not that much that's bad or ugly about Vegas. There really isn't. I love the place. I'd like to see it continue being the American icon. And like always, Californians will ruin everything. But we'll see. We'll see going forward. But yeah, I'd strongly recommend living there. And in reconnaissance, man, I recommend as young people, like, that's something that maybe you don't become a citizen to get the proper state income tax exemption. But go live there and use that as a hub for reconnoitering the rest of the country, because you could fly cheaply anywhere. And then maybe wintertime, you get out of there and you go up to Glacier National Park, and summertime, you avoid the heat and you go somewhere else. But man, you guys you could do a lot worse than Vegas. And I don't know anyone, as long as they stayed off the booze and the strip and the gambling, I know anyone who lived in Las Vegas that didn't enjoy it. So there you go. All right. The book Reconnaissance Man, link below for $15. It's going to literally save you thousands, if not tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of dollars in moving and realtor costs and all stuff like that. Red Hawk for $5. Cappy gave me great advice for my Vegas trip. Listen to this man. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Red Hawk. Don Juan Plaguis, $0. $5. Cappy, Viva Las Vegas, and shout out to the Wynn Hotel, where there's a family bathroom where it should say reserved for Juan and his girls. Did you have some fun, Juan? Did you have some fun? Oh, another thing about Vegas, but this could be said about any southern place. The outdoor culture is a lot nicer. Like, there's outdoor culture, like the amount of cafes. Again, the weirdest things I never thought I'd like: golf, the desert. But then, man, I really enjoy sitting at an outdoor cafe and having some coffee, just sitting and chilling and relaxing. And I never get out of Central Time. So when I get there, I'm really like an old timer. I'm waking up at 5 or 6 a.m. and it's not even hot that time. So you go out there, you just have your morning coffee. We put seeds in like there was no tomorrow. You're planting seeds of a different kind. They're there. They're always there. I guess, yeah, also there's my second favorite cigar lounge is out there in the Summerlin. So it's just nice. Fan I am, 2 Australian. Have you ever hiked the John Muir Trail? Looks beautiful. Let me look it up. John Muir. I know Chris Muir of Day by Day Cartoon. John Muir Trail. Oh, that looks like it's up north. Lake Styles, trail's 211 miles long, mostly conjunction with the PCT from Yosemite Valley to Mount Whitney. Oh yeah, that's the Sierra Nevadas. Yeah, I have not. I might, but it's in California. They probably require permits, and you have to bag your poo and eat your poo because it's environment. Huff your farts. Whatever, California, whatever you guys do out there, I don't know. Every time they're like, you have to pack up your feces. No, I don't. No, I'll poop off to the side. I'll bury it even so like bears and whatever predators don't. But I'm not packing up my shit. It's not going to happen. No, so I have not. And it probably is beautiful. The Sierra Nevadas are very pretty. Macan, 156, 14 Canadian bucks. Just watch how Cappy recovered from the worst pain. Great story. Do you think in your case stoicism would help? Well, yeah, stoicism helped. Stoicism, look, you're going to have to be a stoic. That is not an option. And what I mean by that is there is no choice. Reality is going to force you to be stoic because you cannot deny reality. It's just, when are you going to become a stoic? Early on, when you accept reality for what it is, and thus you save yourself years, decades, an entire life of hopium and hope and more hope and hopefully and hope, and thus the pain and agony of and the worry that things aren't going to go your way? Or do you suffer that hope until the very last moment when reality forces you to accept it, and then you have no choice but to be a stoic and accept reality? So you're all going to become stoics. You're all going to be forced to accept reality. It's the classic example of, okay, are you going to be a stoic we'll give you a classic example where doesn't matter who you are, you will have to accept stoicism. It's just, when are you going to accept it? You're a young 19-year-old girl. Do you want to stoically accept that you will never convince men? It goes against the biological hardwiring to find fat chicks attractive. Will you? You don't have to like it. You can call men all sorts of names and genuinely think they're bigoted or sexist or whatever for not liking fat chicks. But will you accept that fact that for the here and now, men are just not that interested in fat chicks? Okay, you're stoic at 19. At minimum, that 19-year-old girl does not pine or have delusion or expectations for decades of her courting and dating lifestyle. She may even go so far as to stay in shape and lose weight, accepting the stoic reality, but there is no stoic reality. It's just reality. She has the stoicism and the intellectual strength to accept that and put forth the effort to stay in shape. Now, the next, whatever, let's say 20, make it easy, 20 to 50 years, which is a very generous range for female beauty, assuming she keeps herself in shape. Some hikes it at 50. She looks great. She is going to enjoy 30 years more success in the dating market, perhaps marriage, and happily so. Going to get herself higher quality men, yada, yada, yada. May have a bright guy. She can have the dream of stay at home and raise the kids and whatever else. So that, or same 20-year-old girl pounds the tables. No, and they still think that, well, if I put on lashes and weaves and fancy nails and heels on my 280-pound ass, that'll get the guys. Or if I work harder, get an MBA, whatever, that'll get the guy. They'll do. You've seen it. Oh, and we're going to berate and lecture and shame men into going against their biological imperative and demand they start liking fat girls. All of a sudden, those same 3 decades go by. Here's this woman, 50. At the end, she's going to have to accept that for the entire time of her courtable years, men never like fat chicks. That's a fact she has to accept. And going forward, she's going to also have to accept the fact that, well, it's kind of over now, but you're going to be statistically likely, there's always a chance, statistically likely a spinster for the rest of your life. You're not going to have a good sex life. You're not going to fall in love, or at least not to a guy you're physically attracted to. Blah, 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 blah. To the point, let's fast forward another 25 years towards her deathbed, where that's it. There you go. And now you're dead. You will have to become stoic. It's just whether you choose to become a stoic earlier and accept reality and thus therefore make your decisions based in reality and therefore have success and progress or efficacy in life, or you live a delusional lie, which ultimately the final enforcer of stoicism is death. And you're like, yep, there was your life. Bye. And then bloop, black screen, nothing. You're not even conscious. Say, well, this is a black screen. There's nothingness out here. Nope, you won't even have that. You will not have the sentience or the consciousness to say, there's nothing out here. I'm dead. Nope. You won't even have that. And that was your time in the universe. And goodbye forever. Do you think in your case stoicism would help? Yeah, it seems like your negative as F and hate towards society was the main driving force of freedom. Yes, my hatred towards society has taken one, because society is just, people were bad. People were evil, bad people. People are also lazy, but it's not a hate so much. Certainly there's a component of that. It's a ruin, a tragedy. Where now, Cappy's almost 50 years old, and I look at what people do with their lives, and I'm like, this is so sad. You get this one shot, and you look at the average, especially Americans, you look at what they do with it, and they piss it away. They get fat. They watch television. Worse, they go into, I don't want to say necessarily political ideologies, but ideologies, life philosophies of hatred and envy and parasitism, where it's like, well, I want to enslave it. Literally, I want to take their money to give it to me, which covers a whole host of generally left-leaning political ideologies, but it becomes their religion. People are so obsessed with themselves, like me. And I understand for self-supportation, survival, you got to consider yourself. Obviously, you should be the most important person in your life. But instead of, once you get past, survival and you're stable, you should start considering others and going out and living life and adventuring and having a good time. Nope. People want to play their video games, jerk off to prawn, stew in their ideologies of genuine hatred or envy, at least, like feminism and socialism and communism and environmentalism and all that. Because the gal needs the plankton to be saved, and screw people wanting to have fun in Las Vegas. And you look at that, and that's their life. And so I have a contempt for people who just take this ultimate gift of consciousness and sentience in this universe and decide to piss it away merely existing. No different than the animals, except you got a welfare state, you got EBT cards, okay? And they don't do anything. And where I get a hatred, and I admit this is a little bit greedy on my part. There's no one around. There's so few people. I look at them like, if you guys had just played your cards right and chose to go out and choose to do something, then I'd have a lot more colleagues and peers. Then I could, like, there's the Black Hills. I'll tell you, you'll see my point. So this is a while ago, there's a Black Hills meetup group, a hiking meetup group. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the top. These are going to be my people. And I show up, and we're going to do M Hill, which is up in Rapid City. It's not a mountain. It's a tall hill. Kind of cuts the city in half. Still a lot of trails up there. I'm like, M Hill? We're going to do M Hill? I'm like, yeah, I'm right. Maybe we're going to run. Literally, I'm thinking like we're going to run up M Hill. And I'm not in that good of shape. I used to be, but I'm not in that good of shape running mountains. I get there. It's a bunch of old grandma ladies. And I'm the only guy, and it was a good experience. They were charmed that there was a younger man with them, and I'm like, giving them guff. And I'm like, is this the beauty contest? Is this where the beauty pageant is? Fit right in there. And we go on this hike, and they're old ladies. They're not keeping up, and so I have to slow down and gotta stay with the crew. And then they want to go get wine, and not that I had a pleasant time with the old lady. It was a charming, endearing time. But I'm like, this is the hiking club? Should we be hoofing it up Harney's Peak and going like out in the wilderness or going out into Wyoming or something? Maybe make the occasional visit to the Bighorns? There's not enough people. Not enough people are in that good a shape to go out hiking. Even though the mountains are right in your backyard. And so it's not a hate of a detestment, a sickening, or a general disinterest, a boredom with society will drive you to go be an Indian, because you don't want to participate in society watching the Squid Game show I got my MBA. I'm going to become a teacher and teach the circle of why bother. And then I'm going to go and get a car loan. And then and you're like, you're going to be like everybody else. So if you're somewhat aware, you're somewhat awake and aware that you're going to die, you're like, I don't want to do what we've been doing all this time that you all do the same thing. Let's go. The swinging rope. The swinging rope is becoming such an important tool. I know who wants to enjoy life or not. There's a rope. It swings out over Rapid Creek. There's a deep part in the creek. You let go. It's a Mountain Dew commercial. It's been 90 to 100 years since I got here. And I've gone off that swinging rope, and I'll take people there. I'm like, hey, do you want to do the swing? No, I don't want to do the swinging rope. What do you mean you don't want to do the swinging rope? Do you want some ice cream? No, I don't want ice cream. Do you want a blowjob? No, I don't want a blowjob. Do you want $1 billion? No, I don't want $1 billion. What do you want? And this thing is in the city. It's not like you got to drive miles to go get there. And kids do the swinging rope. Kids are alive. But adults, I think it was Bill Cosby. We want to stay up. Why can't we stay up? No, we want you to be like us, the adults. Smoke, drink, be evil. It was true. I don't know. Maybe I'm not done being a kid yet. Like, there's a lot more fun stuff to do. And so society gets so bored. It's not even necessarily a hatred, though there is a hatred for that. Or a detestment, I guess would be a better word. But they're boring, and the boredom drives you away. Like, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go ride my motor. I gotta go do something. I can't just sit here. I mean, because I'm really, my conclusion would be, okay, if I was in your shoes, I would just end it. I would just end it because it's Groundhog Day every day, but you're not Cool Bill Murray with a shot at Andy McDowell. What was her name? And learning different skills, but it just, why are you alive? And so it's part society pushing you out, not ostracizing you, be like, I got to do something different. Part finiteness and stoicism played a very critical role where I realized, especially after coming off of working on the house, I'm like, no one's coming. No one's coming. I've had some guests, and, of course, I love and appreciate my guests. But the idea of a culture, a consistent culture, where there's going to be a group of people who want to go hiking and adventuring and fun and go on the swinging rope, that is not going to happen. And so it is now incumbent upon the individual to go in and make what they must with their life, absent other participants in society. So I hope that was worth a $14 answer. No Vaseline, $2. Where can I buy Bussy in Las Vegas? Oh, you don't buy that. That's illegal. No, seriously, you the closest place is Pahrump, and there's the thing called the Bunny Ranch or Bunny Ranches. I have not been there. Actually, no, I haven't been there. Only reason I haven't been there is because I could have swore it was on the main drag, because you would think, well, that's where they put it, because there's only one town going into Pahrump. No, they put them way the hell out in the middle of the desert, almost to the California border. So they do have a restaurant. I guess there's a very good restaurant there, which, okay, I'll check that out. But I haven't had, I even got a buddy who lives in Pahrump, and it's still, I'm not in the mood. So that's where you go. Otherwise, with the wonders of the internet, you can get yourself an escort, a lady of the evening, for the girlfriend experience. And then they usually have a clause in there that any sexual activity that happens afterwards is two consenting adults and is a completely separate voluntary thing from the transaction where you pay the girl to hang out with you and be a legitimate, genuine escort by the definition of the word. And so that's how they get around it. And it's no different than seeking arrangement or anything else, where it's like, no, he's just paying me for my time to sit here and have this coffee. When we go back to his place, we're friends now. That transaction is over, and then he's going to bang my brains out. And so that's how you do it. And there's girls everywhere on the interwebs. So that's the that's the modern way to do it, but it has happened a couple times. Not to me. I'm not pretty enough, apparently. I kind of like, what? Just too short, just too dang short. So, me and my buddies, this is before Southern Command time. We were still like, oh, the strip. Let's go to the strip. I'd never been to all the main casino. I hit most of them. But I hadn't been to a couple. I think it was the Cosmopolitan. Like, oh, this is interesting. This is new. And this girl starts talking to my buddy. I'm like, oh man, she's pretty cute. Look at her. And turns out she was a lady of the evening. And I guess the old school, and they're not old women. They're younger gals. I guess they're still the old school way where girls will talk to you like, hey, nice jacket, da 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 da. So you're here for a good time, that kind of thing. And it kind of, for the internet generation, will blindside you. And Cappy's been by himself in Vegas most of the time, setting up the Southern Command and all that other stuff. So obviously I've been out, and I do occasionally make it to the strip, not always. And I'm just like, why does this happen to me? Am I not good enough? Am I not good enough? What the hell? Maybe my wonderful fashion as well. But yeah, and then another buddy of mine, I think it's happened to like 3 buddies of mine, just not Cappy. Because even Cappy ain't good enough for a here. Me, Mike, $5. What semi-specific areas, hoods, etc., would you recommend bachelor blue collar person go rent while I learn the city for long-term home purchase? That's a good question. What I would do, Green Valley, I'm pretty much sure. Green Valley, Henderson, because they're by the 215. Let me make sure I got the right neighborhood. I think it's called Green Valley. INV. Green Valley. Yeah. Green Valley Ranch. Green Valley is an okay place. If you could Henderson, Enterprise. Basically, you look at 215. Anything along 215, you should be all right. If you want to be a little bit more close to the strip, there's some condos and some housing to the immediate east. It's a little iffy there, but it's not the worst. Kind of anywhere except Northside Vegas, really. But I would look at that. Enterprise would kind of be out in the middle, maybe not the middle of nowhere, but Green Valley Ranch, Henderson, that's fine. You say, well, why all the south? There's nothing wrong with the far north side either, but you're just a bit far away. Yeah, you're just a bit far away. Summerlin, good luck finding a place to rent out there. Yeah, like Tule Springs, La Madre Foothills. I don't know these neighborhoods, but they're probably obviously safe and boring, but you're pretty far away. There's Henderson. Yeah, there's Enterprise. Rhodes Ranch. Yeah, that southern area is pretty good to go. I think you'll be all right there. No Vaseline, $2. Lies, Cappy. I love spoiled BBW mayonnaise smells. John G, $2. Your truck driving oil gas guy, Mrs. Thrope, saying hi. Well, thanks, John. Hope you can tune into the show. Hope you have internet. Is that it? No, that's not it. Snapper, Tricks, new guy, 10 generous dollars. Have some money, Cappy. I will. Oh, now I know what. See, now I know what it's like to be a girl who strips in Vegas. Like, oh, you just give me money? We're so oppressed. All you have to do is stay in shape. All you have to do, girls, is stay in shape, and you'll blow through that wage gap. It's all you got to do, girls. It's all you got to do. But I know you don't want to listen to reality, and you're going to be the 78-year-old woman who's dying before stoicism is forced upon you by reality. I know. Okay. Was in Vegas last week with my brother. We shot machine guns, ate expensive steaks, smoked cigars, and drank scotch, then left. Great place to visit maybe once a year. It sounds like you're on the strip. Which cigar lounge did you go to? See, you really got to go off strip and explore the area. It is a viable city to live on itself. You just got to not do that. There it is. All right. So link below is Reconnaissance Man. If you're interested in traveling these United States, but you don't know where to start, get that book. And with gas prices, it's definitely going to save you the money. Definitely. And that's about it. We'll see you guys later. More on the way, Toodles.